So I have a question for you. I'm sure you've seen the before and after pictures that I have on my site, on my sales page for group coaching, the transformation pictures that you see in our groups sometimes, the stuff that I toss around social media. And you might ask yourself, how do I get those results? And that's pretty common, right? Transformation pictures are sexy, they're beautiful, they're in your face, they're showing you what is possible, they're giving you that hope that maybe I can do it. So my goal for you in this video is to tell you how those people did it and to make sure that you understand exactly what it takes for those transformation pictures to take place. I've seen hundreds of those transformation pictures that have come through me, and I've seen thousands through friends and through other fitness programs that are out there. And there is really one common thread, one common theme to any transformation picture that you see. And that common thread, that common theme is 100% compliance. 100% compliance. When I start working with somebody one-on-one, I can usually tell within the first 3 or 4 weeks by looking at the data that they're taking, by listening to them when we're going back and forth with emails, when we're working together. I can tell if this person is going to have one of these transformation pictures. Because it's very, very painstakingly clear if 100% compliance is being achieved and maintained day in and day out. And really, I wish that I could tell you that there was some secrets, right? Some secrets and some tricks. And we talk a lot about strategies and about tips and about things that you can do, ways to improve our mindset, ways to get better, ways to keep making progress towards our goals. But when push comes to shove, the biggest trick out there, the biggest secret out there is that there is no secret. If you have 100% compliance, you are going to make that rapid fat loss and you are going to get those results that you're after. You will have one of those before and after pictures nearly every single time if you can achieve 100% compliance for a significant amount of time. If you can put together a streak of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and then maybe you miss a day, but boom, then you're right back on to another 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. It's all about 100% compliance. Now, I want to make sure that I'm very, very clear with what 100% compliance is. What does it mean to be 100% compliant? So, first things first, you have your macronutrient recommendations, right? If you have your macronutrients set up, that is the first step. So good, now I have my roadmap. Now I know what to do. What should I do after I have my set of macronutrient numbers? Your second step is to figure out what your meal frequency and meal timing schedule is going to look like. When are you going to eat, and how much of these macros are you going to eat? It is my highest recommendation to take your overall numbers and to split them up into a way that aligns with your lifestyle. For me personally, I like to eat bigger meals in the evening, so I'll have a really small meal that always consists of 25 grams of protein and 25 grams of carbs for breakfast. No fat, minimal fat. So that's my breakfast every single day. My lunch, I'm a little bit hungrier by lunchtime, so I'll go with 100 grams of protein and 50 grams of carbs with about 10 grams of fat, just a little bit of fat. And then I'll take all my leftover calories and macronutrients and I'll save them for dinner. But that macronutrients breakdown, that split, and that meal frequency is standard every single day. Breakfast, lunch, same amounts, dinner, same amounts. This is super important to make sure that you do, for a reason called hormonal entrainment. Your hormones are going to get used to eating at certain times of the day, and it will also they'll become used to not eating, at other times of the day. And over time, this is going to alleviate hunger. It helps your body get into a rhythm, and it helps you achieve that 100% compliance. Okay, so now we have that. We have our total macronutrients, and we also have our breakdown, and we know how big each meal is, right? So what does 100% compliance mean? First off, it means that if you are eating a food that has a nutritional label, you use the nutritional label and you use whatever parameters they've given you to fit it into those numbers. Oftentimes, if you're eating something out of a bag or a box, it will tell you this many cups of the item, or it will tell you, 12 pretzels or one slice of bread, or right, and those things are fine. You can use, you can use those. If it gives you tablespoons or cups, you need to make sure that you break out those tablespoons or cups and you measure tablespoons or cups of that specific thing. And you want to make sure that you take your knife and you level off your tablespoon, or you level off your cup or your quarter cup or whatever it is that you're eating. So anything that you need to measure with a cup or with a spoon, make sure that you do. This includes things like dressings that go on salad. It includes things like nut butters, peanut butters. It includes things like oils in your pan. If you're taking coconut oil or olive oil and you're just sprinkling it around the pan, and that's not that much, I won't need to track it. Well, actually, you will need to track it. The only way you wouldn't really worry about tracking excess that you put in a pan is if you use a spray that's extremely low calorie and you don't really coat it, you just give it a quick light spray, and that's that. Okay? So keep those things in mind. This means everything, right? So you're doing that, and another part of this is if you have a food that does not have a nutritional label. It's a piece of fruit, or maybe a cup of berries, or meat. Meat's a really, really important one, a really popular one. You need to get out your food scale and you need to measure that. Okay? So, for example, let's say you were going to eat ground beef and you're going to make Mexican, and you have a pound of ground beef and you want to get 40 grams of protein for your ground beef. You're going to need to figure out how much beef weight, pre-cooked, meat is always pre-cooked, how much beef weight is going to equal those 40 grams of protein, and you need to make sure that you account for the fat as well. But it's the food scale, baby, it's the food scale. This includes things like pasta. Pasta, you're going to have to weigh pasta, break out the food scale and weigh pasta. You don't necessarily have to weigh each individual piece of fruit. If you're eating an apple or you're eating a banana, you can simply use Google, and after you use Google, it'll tell you 25 grams of carbs for an apple. Okay, great. So now we know that. And as you're doing this, you want to keep your own food Rolodex so you don't have to do this over and over again. Once you figure out what 1 cup of strawberries is and you measure it out, you want to write that down somewhere, either in a notebook, save it on your phone. I use Post-it notes. I have Post-it notes all over my kitchen for various macronutrient quantities that are in certain foods. But you need to break out the food scale, break out the measuring cups, and you need to break out the measuring spoons as well. Okay? So we're doing all that. Now, you're never going to get spot on protein, carbs, and fats. You're not going to be right on the dot for each one. So what are we aiming for? What are we aiming for? With carbohydrates or with protein, you are aiming for 10 grams over or 10 grams less. That's it. Somewhere within that window. 10 grams over or 10 grams less. Preferably a few over in one and a few under in one. If you want to go under in both of them, that'll give you a little bit of an extra buffer as well. That will certainly help. But that's carbs and that's protein. With fats, it's a plus minus 5 grams. So it's not much of a variance. So fat, you have to be as close as humanly possible, and really you want to underestimate things. If you're making those tacos like I was talking about, and you got that ground beef, you want to dump the beef out of the pan, and then hopefully that gives you a little bit of an extra buffer. Don't add anything back in. Get the beef out of the pan. Get the fat out of the pan. I said the beef out of the pan. Get the fat out of the pan, right? Because all those little itty bitty things like that, that's going to provide you a few calories buffer to make sure that you're really hitting your numbers, okay? So now we're doing all of that. We're tracking everything. We're counting everything. We're making sure that we're plus minus 10 at the most in proteins and carbs. We're making sure we're plus minus 5 with fat. Now, here's the tough part. It's every day. It's every day. It's not some days. It's not 3 out of 7 days. It's every day. That includes Fridays. It includes Saturdays. It includes Sundays. It includes social events. It includes going out to eat with your friends. It includes having alcohol on the weekends. That all needs to be accounted for. Now, a few tips if you find yourself in social situations and you're going out to eat. One of the best things that you can do is look at the menu beforehand and see what the macronutrient information on the menu is. More and more restaurants, especially chain restaurants, have got macronutrient information. Now, if it's not a chain, it might not have macronutrient information. And what should you do in that situation? Honestly, what you should do is aim for lean meat and veggies. Lean protein and veggies. That's what you should do. You should ask for sauces on the side or ask for just some seasoning. Ask them not to cook it with any additional butter. You're out to eat. You are paying money to go out to eat somewhere. So you're allowed to make those recommendations, those dietary things. I'd like to have a grilled chicken breast with salt and pepper as a seasoning. Please don't put any additional butters or sauces on it, and get some steamed vegetables on the side, something like that. And now I know that's not the most exciting piece of information, but if these restaurants don't have a standard, like the chains have a standard, right? There's a big booklet that these cooks get, and it tells them to do exactly this, because they have to, since there's so many restaurants across the United States or across whatever country that you're in. But these mom and pop places, they don't have those same standards. So they're likely to throw gobs of extra sauce, gobs of extra butter to give you way more calories than you really think you're getting. Okay? But this is every day. Now, flexible dieting, people hear the word flexible, they go, oh, flexible dieting. It means that I kind of sort of got to pay attention to what I'm eating, but, it's flexible. There's some leeway. Well, here's what flexible dieting means. Flexible dieting means that you have your carb numbers and you can use them for whatever you want. It means that you don't have to stick to just vegetables and brown rice. If you want to, you can fit a treat into your meal. You can have some Halo Top. You can have a couple of alcoholic drinks, as long as it fits into your overall macronutrients and your overall calories. That's what flexible dieting means. Flexible dieting does not mean that you can hit your numbers 4 days out of the week and then 3 days out of the week just totally disregard them and expect to make progress. That is not what flexible dieting means. Okay? Now, I coach people through a few different scenarios in a few different formats. One of them is one-on-one. One of them is group coaching. Got some other things going on too as far as that's concerned. And with one-on-one clients, one-on-one members, I have them each week tell me how many days out of 7 were you compliant. And whenever I start seeing 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, 5 days, I know right away I'm not going to see good results. I'm not. And it's not because this person is purposefully eating more than they should. It's because we're horrible estimators of calories. There are hidden calories in all of the foods that we have. We're probably dining out more than we should. I don't want you to be a recluse. I don't want you to take your Tupperware containers to your parties. And I want you to be able to go out socially and have a good time. But just understand what you're up against, what you're facing. And the likelihood is, especially if you are a woman, you don't have much wiggle room. Because your calorie maintenance, your calorie requirements are just going to be lower than your male counterparts, which sucks. But it's not fun, it's not cool, but those are definitely the breaks. Okay? So keep these things in mind for sure. One of the best things you can do is plan. Monday through Friday, hopefully that planning is easy. You always want to plan the night before what you're going to eat the next day. Always have the game plan in front of you, so all you have to do is execute. That's it. You eat it, you don't think about it, you don't get caught up in decision fatigue, you don't have willpower fatigue. You're good to go. You got your plan in front of you, just take care of business. Cool, I took care of business, and then you move on to the next day. Now, what this means is if you have Saturday night and you and some friends are going out to a restaurant, you hop on the internet in the morning on Saturday and you try to figure out what you're going to eat. You write what you're going to eat down on a piece of paper, and then okay, this meal is going to have this. Okay, what do I need to do for breakfast and lunch in order for my overall macros to be as close as humanly possible to what I've got? Plan. True story, I used to drive my wife absolutely crazy with my planning of my meals. Crazy. I would wake up on a Saturday morning and I'd say, okay, where are we going to eat tonight? She'd be like, honey, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. And I go, well, we got to pick someplace. And so once we pick someplace, I'd hop online, I'd figure out what I was going to eat, I'd write it down. Okay, this will have this many macros. I'm going to make sure to order it like this. I'm going to get this on the side. I'm not going to have an appetizer. Am I going to have a drink? Yes. Okay, I'll have a one glass of red wine. That's this many calories. And then I go, okay, what do I need to do for breakfast? What do I need to do for lunch so that I'm 100% on point and 100% on track? And I will tell you what, as I started this video out with, every single time I did that for a long period of time, the weight went down, the measurements went down, the results took off. My body absolutely melted away. And yours will too if you can get there. So that's what this video is all about, what 100% compliance truly means and how to get to 100% compliance. I know you can do it. You can be one of those transformation pictures. You can do it. So let me know if you have any questions with that, and good luck getting to 100% compliance.